Well, welcome to the Raised Rowdy Podcast. I'm Nicky T.
I'm Kurt Ozan.
And we have our special guest, Miss Hannah McFarland.
Yay.
Me again.
Thanks for hopping on, sis.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Here, just move the mic back a little closer to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That way Matt doesn't have to do as much audio editing.
There you go.
Okay,
he does our audio
I
editing.
am kind of sitting back.
Yeah, you're good. You can sit back.
I'm straight chilling.
Yeah.
We're rapping.
Thanks for coming. We as we talked about, we did one of these, but it was like kind of like in the in between, and now we have a
now
lot
I can
more to
actually
talk
talk about things. It was
Yeah.
like the week before a lot of stuff was happening, and I was like, "What can I say? What can I not say?"
Yeah.
But now I feel like I can just say everything.
Say everything. Yeah.
Might.
Well,
They even try to put me in media training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? All right. What is media? I know what it is, context clues, but like, what do they make you actually do in there?
To be so honest, I think it's
Please.
Obviously, I feel like it's good for every artist to have.
Yeah.
But I did it, and she was like, "I think you're gonna be fine." I was like, "Cool." I say off the wall stuff, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's ever gonna stop.
Well, that's your personality.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
I think what it is almost like it's just best practices.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you have a story, like the way that you can make it compact, right? So you're not like talking for 20 minutes on something.
No, that's exactly what it was, actually.
But also, I feel like there's interviewers, not us, but like people that try to get you to say bombastic, clippable, like mean things, or like get you to talk about, try to get hot takes out of you and how to like
navigate that.
Yeah, be like
Kinda
give
reroute.
political answers and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's true. My main thing with her was, how do I stop saying
That's hard. We're not great at that.
Nah.
But she said it was because our brains naturally want to fill the dead space, so it just starts throwing out sounds.
Let's practice a dead space. Ready?
Okay.
Hey, that wasn't so bad.
That was
Yeah.
pretty good. Not one single
Oh,
Oh, no.
There it went.
You said do it or don't. Let's not use any ums this whole podcast.
Okay.
See how long we can go.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Nick. And
Okay,
I'm-
robot.
There you are.
All of us lose our personality.
Yeah, media training is going well.
Well, since we've... Oh, man. Too late. I already ruined it.
All right. Go. I feel like you're gonna. Let's just start podcasting now.
Hit it with the ums. You're good.
Regular.
I'll
We'll get
sit
it out
up
of the
so we
way.
don't have to do as much editing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. So you talked about being in the between.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back and let's cover some of the stuff that you've gotten to do since we've seen you last. I haven't seen you since we did the last podcast. I don't think.
I have.
What was that? February or something?
Yeah, a while ago.
It was moments before you went and sang with Zach.
So it would have been probably March then.
Yeah.
Because March 22nd, I went, yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, tell us all about that, please.
Okay, so do you want me to start from how it even happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Okay,
do.
this was my savage phase of life. This was like that phase where I said, okay, I want something, I'm going to get it, and there's no other question. I mean, there's no other option. So I posted a cover of Zach Bryan and Casey's duet.
Songs
And
smashed. Too.
So good.
Yeah.
And I put on the caption, Zach, if Casey can't make it out, let me sing this one with you, or put me in coach, or however I said it. And it was about a month. I said,
Well, you're fine.
I've got it. I'm going to stop.
No.
All right. It was about a reset, mental reset. So it was about a month later, and it had started to go viral, and I woke up one morning to a ton of notifications. I was like, what is happening? And Zach had posted it on his Instagram story. And I was like, okay, I hit that. Now, the next level is to ask him somehow if I can sing it with him. Because I was like, well, obviously he saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then shared it. So I was like, okay, maybe he thinks it was good. But I reached out to him. He didn't see it at that time.
Just a straight DM?
Straight DM.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And I ended up figuring out who I think it would be his day-to-day manager or somebody just on his team, Jay Cisco, which now we're friends. Mm-hmm. But I followed him and he followed me back, and I messaged him and I was like, hey, what can we do about this? I was like, my brother already has tickets for the concert March 22nd in Birmingham. I'm from Alabama. Is there any way that I could go up and sing it with him? Because I knew that he had been having people out to sing with him some. And he was just like, yeah, this is not the easiest thing, but let me see what we can do. I was like, okay. A month goes by, didn't really hear anything. I was like, all right, it's probably not going to happen. And another month goes by, and then he messages me. And multiple messages were sent by me through that period. I was like, okay, any update? And so 2 months later, I guess, he messaged me and was like, all right, we'll see you on stage March 22nd.
Jay did. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no. But he was like, we'll see you on stage March 22nd. I was like, oh my gosh. I freaked out. One of my best friends lived next door at that time. I ran and banged on her door. I was screaming. She probably thought something horrible had happened. But we freaked out. Her dog had an accident because he was so freaked out. We were all so excited. And and then it happened. And I guess I did that podcast with y'all a week before, maybe. Yeah. And so I couldn't say it yet because they wouldn't let me talk about it. They wanted it to be a surprise. But I went out and, sang. That was crazy. I think there was 19,000 people there or something. Crazy. Sold out arena. Yeah. Was
that your biggest stage so far?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's crazy about it was that was the least nervous, which I don't really get nervous for a lot of things. But that was by far the least nervous I've ever been for anything in my life. I can't explain it. I have no idea. I had those weird moments of that burst of energy, almost that not really nervous anxiety, but just oh my gosh, it's really happening. I think when I went in for sound check at 2 p.m. that day, that was the one moment that I was like, oh, this is a really big empty space, just because there was nobody in this giant arena at that time. But no, everything was great. It was so cool.
Well, I have questions because I'm so curious. It sounded great, by the way. I saw all the clips when they came out.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's so natural for you to do that. Was it your first time using in-ears?
No, I had. So, I played Broadway, and I don't know why I hated telling people this before because it's such a big part of my story. But I played Broadway for probably 4 years. Up until last year was my last time playing when I signed my pub deal and everything. I was like, all right, well, I'm not doing it anymore. But yeah, so I had been using in-ears for all that whole time.
Wow.
But obviously when you get up there, and that was, I think, my first time having such a big production in my ears. But
because you've got steel guitar and his band's big and they're great.
Yeah. No, they're great. But it was such a, you're friends with Reed, right? Okay, so that's all right. So that helped me also feel a little more comfortable knowing that you had that contact.
Yeah.
And he's so nice.
They're the
sweetest.
He's
just so cool. The whole band was really so nice.
Yeah.
They made it so easy, and but no, it was definitely different. There is something that not a lot of people know, but when I got out there, we did sound check. I couldn't decide if I wanted to play guitar or not because he and I played it a little bit different. And so right before I went on stage, this is actually kind of embarrassing. Right before I went on stage, I looked at the sound guy and I go, mute my guitar. He goes, what? I was like, just mute it. And so I get up there and I was just fake playing the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because I think Zach also, as an artist, he's just a little more free. And so he'll play things a little bit different. From sound check, part of the band said that too. They're like, he might play it different. I don't know, just tempo wise and all that kind of stuff. So I freaked out, and that was the moment that I was like, just mute me. I'll just fake it. And so I didn't really play guitar on it, but it looked like it.
Yeah. Well, you're there to sing,
Yeah.
Of course.
I was like, look, if I mess up guitar and I hear that in my ears, it's going to throw off my singing. Yeah. So I was like, let's just take some variables out.
Why not? I love it.
But I couldn't just stand there and sing because I was like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I am that artist. If you put me up somewhere and you say, here, you got to sing with no guitar, toast. I'm toast.
We got to give you a red Solo cup to hold.
Yeah, just an empty cup.
Yeah. There's I think just the more shows you play, and then eventually when you have this huge band and it's like they don't need you on acoustic guitar, you'll find that's part of like your artistry, right? Your voices. What do you do when you're playing the song as part of your artistry? But what do you do when you're not singing on stage? And what do you do in between songs is a huge part of who you are as an artist, I feel like.
Yeah. I
feel like mine's it's just the banter, which we talked a little bit about this before we started the podcast, but that's why clubs are a little bit difficult for me, just because when you do put me in such a party setting, you have to alter. I mean, it's just every stage that you get on, you have to alter a little bit of how you do the banter and all that. But I feel like that is such a big part of every artist. I guess just kind of navigating who they are as an artist even. Yeah, what does it sound like between sets? Are you the one that has the crowd laughing or crying or both? Or, how you perform, not just in your actual performance, but in between the songs where there is dead space and you have to pull the crowd back in.
I mean, you've played sold out arenas and you've played Nick's Writers Rounds probably 100 times. Is there a sweet spot as far as crowd size for you?
That's tough. I think so I was on 3 tours last fall. I did the Brett Young one, Kip Moore, and Tucker Wetmore. And I was nervous at first because I knew it was going to be such a big difference between each crowd, but it allowed me to know which crowds my music, at least at that time, fit the best. Again, Tucker was more clubs, which was fun, and I got to party with them. But it's just more of a party crowd. So my music at that time, I felt like it was a little conflicting, just knowing that they really wanted to party, which was fun. Yeah. But then the Brett tour and the Kip tour were a little more aligned because it was mostly theater kind of vibes, or just I'm trying to think. One of the really fun ones, I think it was called The History in Toronto. It's not a theater, it's not like a sit down theater, but it's not really a club. I don't really know what it would be considered.
Maybe like Stage AE, sort of like a concert hall or something.
Yeah, it was like that. So those were really fun, but I really, really liked the theaters just because everybody was sitting down. And the meet and greets were easier that way because you weren't asking people to go from the front row over to merch to meet you and then wiggle their way back into the crowd. It was like they had their own seats. So my meet and greet lines for those were like, I think one night it was over 200 people, and that was so fun. But then you go to the clubs and it's like, hey guys, would you come out of the crowd in your very good spot that you have right there up front and come see me at the merch table? It's like, no.
And also in the theater, sometimes the merch is in a different room than the main hall.
Yeah.
So you're not losing your voice as much when you're talking to the fans.
Exactly.
It's more personable.
Right. And it was, when the next act came on, so like the Brett tour, Restless Road would come on after me and then Brett. But I would have to time it to where, sometimes we would have to cut off the line so that I wasn't at the meet and greet while the next artist was starting. So, yeah. But theaters were... I love a theater. I love it. I knew I would.
It's
just
the
because
intimacy, maybe.
Yes. Like the listening room here in Nashville, it's
Love
just
it.
the same. Yeah. People are listening at the it was different at the other ones, but honestly, I'm so used to that too because I started playing the shows in bars and restaurants when I was 15. Like I am used to no one listening, but still on those club shows, I'd have at least one person come up to the meet and greet and be like, I didn't know who you were before, but I'm such a big fan now. And that's all. That is exactly what it's about.
Right. Yeah. That's why we tour.
Yeah.
That's cool. We had Kip on the pod. God, I guess a month ago.
Yeah. Really?
Something like that.
I love him.
It was awesome.
He's amazing.
No, he really is. I lucked out. This whole time I've lucked out. Just the people like y'all and the other artists that I've gotten to build connections with, they're just so genuine. For Kip, he was I think that was the first concert that I ever went to as a kid. And then I turned around. Yeah. And then I went on for my first opening. I opened for him on tour. I mean, it's insane. But everybody says don't meet your heroes, which love you, Kip. I'm not going to call you my hero. But it was one of those situations where I met him and I was like, oh my gosh, he really is just such a good person too. Totally. Yeah. And we are close friends now. We go get coffee. I bounce all my ideas off of him. He really is just he's one of the best.
You know, you talk a lot about luck, but it's like if you keep getting lucky at every set, maybe it's not luck.
It's not.
Yeah. You know?
Bars.
Yeah. There you go.
No, that was wow. That's I haven't looked at it like that.
Yeah.
I always, everyone when I was young always said I was lucky, but they didn't see the hard work it took to be lucky.
Oh.
You know?
Oh.
That's part of it.
I guess it is.
Yeah. There's so many ways in my life I feel lucky. You know, it's like, I'm lucky I met Luke and got that gig, you know, but then it's like, but I was also I already knew that I wanted to be like a utility player. I was like kind of building my life around this job that I haven't found yet. And it was just kind of like, we found each other because I had practiced and worked on this skill set.
Right.
You know, same with you. It's like you're getting tours, not because of luck. It's like because you're talented.
Yeah.
Because you practice. And you've been doing it you've been gigging since you're 15. So.
Well, part of it's a good team too. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Them understanding your artistry and helping you get in the right rooms.
Yeah.
Whether that's a writing room on your publishing side or whether it's a great tour from your booking agent or your management team, which I'm sure is involved with all of that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I would do without the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the power of it, you know?
Yeah.
We can talk about that a little bit too.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Last time like in our like virtual pod that we did just as friends.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that, but let's talk about your team and how that kind of came to be.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So I feel like there's so much behind it.
We've got time.
So like I said, I was playing on Broadway and I didn't really want to tell anybody. It was just how I paid my bills. I have had other weird little crazy jobs here and there, but music was really the job. That was what I started out doing and what I am going to end up doing. There's just no other option. But I was playing out on Broadway. I got home from a show. This would have been Thanksgiving 2023. I got home from a show and I had a meltdown. I was miserable. At this point, I was leaving every single Broadway show in tears. I was like, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. This is horrible. I want to sing my own songs. I want to tell my own stories. And for anybody that's come to my shows, I literally say this story every single show. So sorry if it's redundant, but it is such a big part. I got home, had my meltdown. I spent all night in prayer. I was just like, God, if this is what I am supposed to be doing, if this is my purpose, then if you'll give me the platform, I will tell people why I'm doing it. I will give you the glory. And the next day I posted a song that I'd already released, The Bet I Made. I'd released that a while before this, and I'd posted it a ton of times, but I posted it that time and it took off. It went viral, and I think a couple of days later I got my first meetings, and then I signed my pub deal within 2 or 3 months, signed my record deal within 5-6 months, management, everything. And that all came from someone reaching out to me. Bradley Kind, I love you, BK. He found my video and sent it to Chief and Simon at the Core. And he was like, hey guys, I think this is a good one. And I met with them, I think January 9th of last year. And then since then, I think we all kind of knew right when we met. It was like, oh, this is good. We're going to work well together. But it was because we really believed in each other. And they really believed in me, and I felt it, and I still feel it. And I don't know. It just felt like the right fit. I think a lot of people talk about when you know, and it's like that. tenfold in industry stuff. I knew right when I met with Bryce Sherlow, my point at Warner Chapel, I knew that's where I was going to go. You sit back and you take offers and you go take meetings because there is something in the back of your mind going, slow down. You need to make sure, which all it did for me taking other meetings and offers was just confirm where I knew I was supposed to go. So it was like that with the Core. It was like that with Warner Chapel. It was like that with Capitol Records. And yeah, everything just fell into place. I'm really happy that I made all these choices now because they are my biggest champions. They have my back. They push me, but they also know when it's like, hey guys, I need a mental day.
Yeah.
And they respect that. And they're good about it, so, yeah.
Well, I think that's an important part, too. You're talking about all this running, and that's a great part of the thing is that you get to be on the road and you get to tour.
Yeah.
And I know you had some friends out with you on the road as well, which definitely helps.
Kaylin Robertson.
Yeah.
My queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great because then you have a confidant, someone that you trust, someone that has your back 100%. Yeah. You have theirs, But it's a grind.
It is. Y'all, when I first signed to the deals, I could go back and show y'all in my text, like the first things that I was saying to Chief and Simon and to CAA for my booking. I was like, just put me on tour. I just want to be on the road because my whole adult life, I was like, shows are my thing. I love playing shows. I love performing. They put me on tour, and I was like, guys, what's happening? But it was tough at first. It is not like going down to Broadway and playing shows. It is.
Sleeping in your own bed.
Oh, my gosh. I realized real quick, I'm going to be back at my home a day and a half a week, and that day and a half, I will not be being social. That is my time to do laundry. Mm-hmm. That is my time to find the next person to watch my dog. Yeah. It was tough. And we didn't have a TM. We didn't have a tour manager on the Brett tour. I don't think we had one the whole Brett tour. And then I might have had one for a couple of the Tucker shows. But then the Kip tour, I had a TM. It was life-changing. Oh, my gosh. Y'all, low-key, after it went Brett tour, Tucker tour, Kip tour. After the Tucker tour, I called my team, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't go on the Kip tour. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I know. And I think they probably had to, strap their diapers on. They were probably like, we're losing her. We're going to lose her. But the truth was, it was just so hard without a TM.
Yeah, of course.
And I was so, so tired. I was sick all the time because we were going on no sleep. We did not get a tour bus. We did not get a van. We were either taking red-eye flights or we were driving 7-8 hours between the shows. Kaylin and I, and our friend Kalani was doing photography at the time. And just, y'all, it tested us. It tested us. It tested our friendships. It tested everything. But when you get out there in that high-stress environment, especially with your friends, you're all comfortable with each other already. And so you get out there and you're all tired and you're all running on no sleep. And then you're having to, put your boots on and play a show and try to run it as seamless as we can when we don't know what we're doing. None of us had been on tour.
Right.
So, yeah, no, we got to the end of that, and I was like, Chief, I can't do it. I can't go. But praise God, I got Thanksgiving week off and reset, and then 3 days into a break, I'm like, all right, ready to go. I'm all packed up. All right, I'm ready to go. And it was, gosh, how stupid would that have been to throw away that? But when you get in that exhaustion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you haven't slept, nothing is good.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah, right. It's so important.
No, it was tough, but I'm sure they were panicked.
Especially when you're driving, it's like that's mental energy. and then you got to get glammed, and then you got to warm up, and then you got to meet and greet, and then you got to talk to people and hug babies and whatever.
Well, when we were getting to those shows, the ones that we were driving in between, it was like we were getting there right for sound check. I mean, 20 minutes before sound check. Mm-hmm. There were once our shows at Joe's on Weed Street in Chicago. Love it. That was so fun. I still kept my little sold out cookie that they give you for the Joe's shows. But we flew into that one, and then when you're flying in, you got a whole nother set of issues because this was during the fall. It was snowing. We had that flight delayed. We landed at the airport probably 20 minutes before we were supposed to step on stage. Not for sound check, for the show, to open the show. And so we had a runner come pick us up. I changed in 2 minutes. Kaylin was still in her sweatpants. We ran up there, plugged our packs in, and ran onto the stage. No sound check or anything. Kaylin's over here literally in a tank top and sweatpants. And I don't even know whatever I packed as a backup plan in my guitar case for my clothing was what I had on. Just shows like that are so exhausting, but those ended up being some of the most fun on the tour. Yeah. Just because it is not so thought out. It's like you are running on fumes, but when you get it done, it just feels so much better.
And people don't realize sometimes it's like the headliner will play later and they do their show and then their bus driver drives while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
And if it's a 7-hour drive, who cares? You're asleep the whole time.
Yep.
But if you're the opener, you have to take all your stuff into the venue, all your clothes, guitars, pedal boards, makeup and all that, play the show, put it back in the car, drive to the hotel, take it all upstairs so no one breaks into your car because that happens at hotels literally all the time. Mm-hmm. Then go to sleep for a few hours. Then you have to wake up and drive 7 hours. And then you're sound checking at 5, so it's like you're leaving 8 a.m., 9 a.m. hotel call. Plus, it's like you want to watch the opener set, and you want to have a couple of beers, and it's like there's no time. There's just not enough hours in the day, and it's just exhausting.
Right. It tested me. I'll just say that. It tested me a lot, and it got me back knee-deep in therapy.
Oh, yeah. And also, margins are tough for openers, too, so it's like you have to sell merch. And you have to be there shaking babies and hugging hands or whatever at the merch thing so you can sell koozies and CDs, and then you're getting sick because you're touching all these people.
That's why I'm still battling the case of the sniffles. I almost posted a thing that was like, guys, if you're sick, please don't hug me in the meet and greet. I love you. But it's tough. Yeah, because like we were saying, when you're running on no sleep and you're going through and you're hugging 50 people.
Yeah. And then if you're not, then it's like, oh, Hannah McFarland.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I want to. I am that person. I see, especially a kid running up to the meet and greet, and they don't know. They just run up and jump into your arms.
Little booger machines.
Ah, literally. But it's so fun. I mean, it was, especially this last run that I was out on. It was with Dylan, Marlowe, and Connor Smith.
Yeah.
I want to hear about this tour.
Yeah, same.
Y'all.
We love those boys.
It was so fun. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just another case of being put out on the road with people that you are kind of friends with. Mm-hmm. And it was so fun. It was a riot. But it was, comfortable in a way that the other tours, I was kind of friends with them, but not really. It was more people that I really just looked up to. Mm-hmm. Now we're friends. But going into this, I was like, I already know Dylan and Connor. And so I knew it was going to be fun, and it was. They're so funny. They have their little bit going on right now about their song Country in the Clouds.
Yeah.
Their duet that they're doing about, I wrote this. No, I wrote this. And that whole internet fight they're doing. Uh-huh. Genius.
Yeah, it is smart.
Genius. But,
very good marketing.
Oh, it was so good. And people in the crowd fed into it. And they had their bit going the whole show. They're like, all right, now that Connor's done, the real show's here and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
Cool. Were you acoustic, just kind of solo on that?
I took Kaylin with me on that one too. So she, gosh, bless her.
This is your friend?
Yeah, Kaylin Robertson. She's an artist as well, incredible songwriter too. And so when I first got the tours in the fall, I was like, well, y'all know there is just about little to no budget for opening acts.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I was like, how can I make this sound bigger than just me and my guitar without having a whole band? Mm-hmm. So I called her and I was like, what can we do? I was like, I know you can play keys, but I don't really know if that's going to be easiest to fly with and all this kind of stuff. So she got this little stomp pad thing. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it sounds like a little kick drum on the stage. So she was playing acoustic, had the stomp, and then I was playing my acoustic and singing. So I just kept saying, as long as I can run with that, I would love to. Because I still keep that really intimate acoustic feel of my music, but it just adds a little bit extra. And then I have her up there, having a friend on stage. Yeah. It also helps. I'm comfortable on a stage myself, but having someone up there that I can also kind of hype up.
Yeah.
I love hyping people up. So every night I'm like, she's incredible. Like, this is my friend Kaylin, and she's an incredible songwriter. And half of my set are songs that we wrote together. So it was just being able to give the crowd backstory on that too. I think that was cool for people to hear, Kaylin and I walked in this room this day, had this right, and then so it just added a whole other element that wasn't just me acoustic. That was just helped out a lot, to be honest.
Absolutely, especially as you're talking about like in those club shows.
Yeah.
Being solo acoustic just by yourself in front of it.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I did that for one of the Tucker weekends. So I think, two shows maybe I did acoustic. Ouch. But I needed that too because it helped me, because I am going to be in that position. Mm-hmm. Even shows that we've talked about, tours that we've talked about putting me on, amphitheaters and arenas and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Secrets.
I think, yeah, you know what? I ain't saying anything because who knows if anything goes through these days. Yeah. But I'm going to have to be in that position. So I think it's good to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. So I'm glad I got on those shows too. Again, Tucker and I were friends before that tour. So it was another of those situations. But yeah, it especially clubs, I think it can be tough. But if you win over one person, or without fail, there was at least one or two people in the crowd singing the words to my songs. So I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. And I think that's one of the things too. I remember when we had Dylan on right when he was starting to tour, and he was talking about, I'm now writing songs that I know will be good in the live set because I got to see what hit. Yep. So
it's such a learning curve. And while it probably would have been easier to pick one tour and just wrote out one whole tour, I am glad that I got on so many different ones and got to just test the different markets, because it was good also for my team to see, where some of my fans are, or especially for, my booking agents to see, okay, Hannah could sell, this many tickets in this market, or there was, this one, maybe they're not quite there yet, or this crowd, like some more rowdy. So I think that was good for all of us to see that, but yeah.
And it's cool also to see how different artists run their tours. How do they treat the openers, and do they, is there a vibe? Do people hang out afterwards? And then when you do all these different tours, then you can decide, okay, when I go and do my headlining, how do I want to treat my openers,
Well, and again, lucked out, because all of the tours I was on, they were so nice. I mean, the TMs for all of them, just the nicest people ever. Yeah. And
if not, Nick will go talk to him.
Yeah.
Uncle Nick.
Yeah. I'll beat him with the wet spaghetti noodle.
No, I'm still friends with, especially Brett's TMs, Aaron and Sam. We still talk all the time. I still FaceTime them.
Cool.
I really became close friends with these people. And on those shows, especially the Brett ones, because I didn't have my own TM, Oh my gosh, they were angels. They helped us out. They really took us under their wing, which the artists did too. They were all like, if you need anything. There was one weekend where I was sick. I had no voice. And Brett had his friends who do IVs come out and give us IVs before the show and completely turned around my health. But just stuff like that, yeah, you can see how, you know, when I do have openers, hopefully someday, when I have openers, okay, yeah, I want to treat them like this. I want to make sure that either they feel this way that I felt, or they don't feel this way from, you know, whether there were certain positions that I was in. Make sure that they feel like they have someone that they can go to that kind of understands. And I can't really speak much on that, though, because I've genuinely had the best experiences with teams.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
And your management's putting you with good folks.
Yeah,
so.
right. And God forbid someday I don't get put in such a good position. Mm-hmm. I kept saying I'm spoiled now. If you put me with like a team that has a TM that's not going to be very nice or whatever, I'm going to be dead.
Well, now you have experience. So now you know what to do.
That's true.
Yeah. Another thing that we want to talk about was the little pop-up that you did with Riley.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Well, before you did it with us, let's talk about that first.
Yeah, so I haven't played the Opry yet. Well, I haven't had my debut. Yeah. I count that as two separate things. So
yeah, absolutely.
He texted me and he was like, hey, would you want to come out and sing Ella's part in Don't Mind If I Do? And he had asked me that before, like a few months ago when I think I was still touring. I was so sick, literally had no voice. I wanted to so bad, but I was so sad. I had to say no for that one. But then I was like, there's no way he's never going to ask me again. And then, one day, whatever day that was, he texted me. He's like, hey, would you want to come out? I think it was either the next day or that day. Really last minute. But he was like, would you want to come out and sing Ella's part? And I was like, oh, yes. But there was that part in me that I was like, do I want to do this? Because I had always said, I'm not going to the Opry. I'm not going to go watch a show there. I'm not going to do any of that stuff until I am playing. And so I had a little mental battle because I was like, do I really want to burn my debut on, you know, someone else's song? But then I humbled myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, Hannah, sit down. There are 1,000 people that would want this opportunity. And praise God that I humbled up real quick and was like, are you kidding me? And went and did it. And it was incredible. And I've known Riley for a while, so it was also cool, again, that, you know, I'm out there with a friend. And
Alabama artist.
Yeah.
You all play the same Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that was, I mean, it was, I have to tell myself that wasn't my debut. And I know that's how a lot of people were painting it, but I still want that special moment of, you know, I'm going out there and this is my Opry debut. Yeah. And these are my songs and all that. They had my stool sitting outside of the circle. And then when I went up there, I was going to sit there outside of the circle. And when I went up there, he's like, no. And like pulled the stool into the circle. And I was like, oh.
Good guy, Riley Green.
Yeah.
Boss man.
Yeah.
I love the Opry.
Yeah.
I know. So then after that, I was like, well, I guess I can go to shows there. And then I just went and saw my friend Vincent Mason play there a few weeks ago, which was cool. That was my first time sitting in the crowd actually watching a show.
It's cool.
Little FOMO.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, I should be up there.
Yeah. That's like when I go to concerts. You know, if it's like a rock concert or something that's not in the Nashville wheelhouse, I don't get it as much.
Yeah.
But if it's like remotely close to something I could or would want to do, then I'm like, this is great.
Okay, see, that's a great point. So I went to Bridgestone, and I saw, and I haven't been to a ton of concerts because I want to keep it special. I want it to feel like I still want to cry every concert I go to, and I do. except I went to Pitbull at Bridgestone.
Yeah,
Correct. And I didn't cry. And I didn't have FOMO. And I was like, this is sick. This is the coolest concert ever. Mm-hmm. But then I go see Kelsey Ballerini. And then I go see even Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah. And I go see all these people. And I'm like, I want to be up there.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm, as much as I hate to say this, never going to be Pitbull. But
damn,
I know. Oh,
she's humbling herself again.
I know. I'm never going to be a bald. What is he? I guess a Spanish singer. Who would that have been?
Mr. 305. He's a Floridian like me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, never going to be him, unfortunately, as much as I would like to be.
Mm-mm. There can only be one Pitbull.
You're right.
But there can only be one Hannah McFarland. So
yes,
you're right.
Absolutely.
But I connected to Kelsey's show. She's
great.
So relatable. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of artist that is what's cool about going to these shows is I can see things that they're doing that I'm like, okay, so that does work on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
So the way that I'm still really intimate in my smaller shows that I'm doing now, I can still carry that over into arenas. And I can still, pick out people in the crowd and talk to them.
Yeah.
And people not only are okay with that, they love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They love what Kelsey's doing. So I think
talk
it's so
about that with artists too. I'm like, you have to go see the ones that do it the best.
Yeah.
And even if it's like, well, that's not me, but.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the benefit of artists going to see other artists is you go see someone and how they work the stage. Because you're paying attention to different things than I'm paying attention to. Mm-hmm. You're paying attention to...
body movements even.
Yeah. How do they get off the mic when they're breathing? You know, things like that. But also, how do they catch the crowd and keep them with them?
Mm-hmm.
What's their stage movement across the stage back? Whatever it looks like. So that's one of the things. I'm actually going with a buddy that's like a up-and-coming artist, and I'm like, we're going to see John Langston. Because I want you to see how he is on stage.
What a rock
John's
star.
So great on stage. I think that's an important part.
Yeah, it is.
But I also wanted to talk after you had your Opry moment. You came and played for us.
Yeah.
We moved over to Losers for that night, which was sick.
Yeah.
And that was our first show that Riley popped up at the bar since we've been
Really?
there. Yeah.
Okay, so what was so funny about that was it was originally supposed to be at the Duck Blind, Riley's place. And so whenever he had asked me to do it, I'd already had the round booked for a while because it was, the birthday celebration, wasn't it? Yeah. So I responded back to him. I was like, I really want to, but I have a round afterwards at your bar.
Sorry, Riley Green. I have to go hang out with Nick.
At your bar.
Yeah. And then he responds back and he's like, I know a guy. You're fine. I'm like, if you're running a couple minutes behind,
not a problem.
It is my bar.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yep.
And then he said, guess I'll have to go for that one too.
Yeah.
And so, it ended up moving over, but it worked out so cool. It was so fun.
You could not freaking walk in Losers.
Oh.
It was wild.
I was claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm up on that stage and I got like a little bit of a barrier, I'm good.
Yeah.
I was just like at home in bed, like looking at my phone. I'm like,
you're like,
oh,
what
that's
is
cool.
happening?
All right, y'all have fun, y'all kids.
Well, because Wyatt got up that night too, didn't he? Wyatt was on my round that night.
Yeah.
That was so
Wyatt
fun.
Flores?
Yeah.
Played the whole round. Yeah, it was a good one.
But don't worry, you got your beauty sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It was.
I woke up hydrated the next day. I would not have if I was at Losers.
No.
It was Brennan Cato takeover.
Oh, okay.
So
it was for his birthday, right?
Yeah. It was on his birthday.
It was chaotic.
Oh,
I'll tell you that. But it
I
was
love a
so
good
fun.
Chaotic Losers night.
Oof.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
some
fun.
of my favorite nights.
Yeah, and it was killer, and man, it was super special because we had Riley play at Live Oak. We did a 50 egg takeover.
Oh yeah.
So he played that unannounced, and so, but we'd seen, Riley had popped up a couple times and played, at Losers.
He's always out and about.
Yeah.
I'm like, he is
man of the people.
He is not elusive.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah,
he is out there. Yeah.
I would talk about that too with like Steve and Charlie at Losers. I'm like, man, like you go to any other person's bar, they're never there.
No.
Riley will bop through.
Oh yeah.
Like way more than most people do.
He'll be behind the bar. He'll be up serving drinks. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
That night when him and Posty were serving drinks behind the bar.
Oh my gosh.
Legends. You
get on TikTok that night and the next day, anytime that he's out, and it's like every girl that has a TikTok account in Nashville is like, oh my God, Riley Green was at Losers. It's like, of course he was.
I would be doing that.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I talked about this sometimes. I'm like, if Riley goes through, like if he's hanging out on the deck and he goes through the bar to go to the restroom,
always
magically the bar's full 15 minutes later. It's the craziest thing.
Gosh, he's genius though, because imagine how much business those places get because he's there always. Yeah, but those are the places to go though.
It is, and that's the best part about Losers is that Steve has made, and Irv before him as well, of course, like has made that a place that is comfortable for artists to come.
Yeah.
You know, you can, and if you're on the deck, you're protected. And if you want to go out to the world, you're welcome to.
Yeah, you can go mingle and risk your life.
Yeah. But that's one of the coolest parts about being over there is the nuts things. Like,
you never know who you're going to see.
You literally never know who you're going to see. We had
I got a bunch of loser stories. I'll tell you. You go first, Nick.
Yeah,
please.
We had a band come play from Atlanta, like a rock band that came up and played our Wednesday show.
Okay.
And we were like, this is a bar you just really don't know. At any time, someone could show up that you're like, what? And the night they were there, Kid Rock and Uncle Cracker were at the bar.
Oh my gosh.
Losers.
Did they lose their mind?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, told you guys. You
yeah.
know?
You're like, I was right. Yes.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
I'll tell stories like when I first moved to town, like I walked in to Losers and Toby Keith got up and sang, I love this bar. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Okay, that is iconic.
Yeah.
We got winners, we got losers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's nuts.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
awesome.
hold on. Did I just put that together?
Oh, it took me forever to figure that out. So it was the chicken or the egg, the bar names.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
We'd have to ask Steve. We'll never get Steve on a podcast.
Yeah, never. Another time, I was really funny. I was sitting at a table, and I was with Rob and some other folks, and there's just a group of people on the patio, and people kept bringing drinks over and shots. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, why is everyone bringing us shots? And then they were like, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh. I'm like, oh. It was Aaron Lewis, wasn't it? I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, I'm Aaron. I'm like, hey, I'm Kurt. And they're like, that's the singer from Stain. And I was like,
you're like, wait a second. These shots aren't for me.
Yeah, when we were all drinking them. We're hammered drunk. And someone's like, you want to get up and sing one? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, there's no way this dude's going to be able to sing after we've just been drinking this whole time. And he got up there and just like crushed it. I was like, what the hell? I can't even walk right now. This guy, he's just like sang perfectly.
That's insane.
That's what we call a rock star.
Yeah,
no, that was like after
literally a rock star.
Yep.
After the BMI Awards, I think it would have been. We went over there and I drank a little. I don't drink that often, but I drank a little that night. I'm gonna blame it more on me just being sleepy that I didn't realize how many people I met that night. And I woke up the next morning and looked at my camera roll. I was like, I don't have pictures with all of them. I'm like, I guess I just bopped up to everybody. Like, can I get a picture with you? They're probably like, who is this girl? But yeah, no, I looked through and it's like, of course, Tucker is there. So I got a stupid picture of me and Tucker, me and Luke Bryan, all these random people. And I'm like, all right, well, that was fun. But you really never, that is where everyone goes.
Yeah.
This podcast is making me very thirsty right now.
I know. So we go to Losers?
Yeah, let's go get a beer.
We'll see you there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Also, I remember that night you postmated slippers to the
bar.
Oh
my gosh.
Which was so great. It was
I remember that. Yeah.
The best move ever. You were like, these heels are killing me.
It's all coming back to me.
It's all coming back to me.
Traumatic. The beginning of that night, I was feeling cute. I was like having my dress on, which I don't get dressed up that often. Y'all know me. I'm wearing a hoodie 99% of the time. But I was in my dress. I was feeling myself. I was like, this is the first time I went to the BMI Awards and had these cute sparkly heels on. And I started out in sparkly booties, little booties.
Yeah.
And I was standing at the Warner Chapel pre-party and I was legitimately just standing there. and I fell over. The heel snapped in half.
Oh no!
I was like, this is worst case scenario. And we were supposed to walk over like 2 minutes later to the awards. And so my sister and her friend Leah, bless them, they ran over. They brought me in an Uber. They brought me some heels. And it was like at that point, I had no other option. I was going barefoot, or I was going to wear some mystery heels. And so they show up with the mystery heels. They are about a size and a half too big, but I walk into the awards and I was like, this is going to be bad. And I was planning for a fun night, and I was like, these heels will not last. And so I already had them off under the table at the awards. Perk of not being called up there, obviously, for anything at all. But I had my heels off, sitting there at the table. We go to losers afterwards. And I was like, I think I was barefoot at that point. Mm-hmm. I left those awards barefoot, holding the heels. And
it's like prom or something.
Yeah, no, seriously. What stinks about it, which honestly it's probably for the best, this is like my introduction into the industry, really. This is my introduction into the big leagues. I have not been to these awards before, anything. These people, like head honchos, probably seeing me walk by barefoot, and they're like, who is this girl? And
it's
so
country music. They're probably like, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'm there at losers, and I was like, this feels gross. All right. It started to come to. I was like, this might be a little disgusting.
Yeah, I'm not walking with barefoot and losers.
Yeah. That's probably why I'm sick all the time.
Yeah.
But so I get on like DoorDash or something and got slippers from Walgreens delivered to the bar.
Legendary.
Did you or Matt run out to get them for me? I think it was Matt.
Yeah.
Matt ran out. Bless him.
Homie.
Yeah.
What a homie.
Yeah. Ran out
That's
to
the
the Uber or whatever it was, DoorDash, whatever it was, and got my slippers and brought them in. And it was kind of funny though, because anybody that didn't know me that was there, they were like, all right, we know her now. And we were kind of, it was a fun little thing.
Honestly, that's the fun little things like that are the memories that, for me, trigger, like things that stick out. I'm sure people remember that you were barefoot. It seems silly, but it's
whether
so true.
For the worst or the best, they will remember I was barefoot. Yeah. And then wearing slippers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't really reached into the music yet. Let's talk
Let's
talk about the EP that you have out too.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of we
Oh,
talked
yeah,
about your first
music.
single. Yeah. But let's talk about the EP.
Yeah, so I think that body of work was a good kind of introduction into what my music is. It was a lot of songs that I had already been teasing on TikTok for over a year. Mm-hmm. So it kind of built up a little bit of momentum before, but we were going to kind of release it as singles, but then I'm so antsy with my music. I'm just like, I write a song, record it, and I'm like, all right, now what about the next one? What about the next one? What about the next one? I think a lot of people are like that, but I'm really bad at that. So I asked my team, I was like, what if we just release it as an EP? What if we just put them all out? They're like, all right, you know what? Let's just do it. So we tied that in with Hey Highway, which had already been released. Yep. The Bed I Made, which had already been released.
Yep.
But then put out Out of the Blue, Whiskey into Water, and wait, were those the only two new ones? How many songs are on it? I don't even remember.
I have the internet for resources such as this.
Broken Hearts.
Yes.
Broken Hearts Break. Broken Hearts Break Hearts. Y'all, we put it out and I still don't know the title. Broken Hearts Break Hearts, or Broken Hearts, or Broken Hearts Break. I don't know, one of those. It's all the same song, don't worry.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Well, as is the title track,
Broken Hearts. Is that what? Yeah.
Broken Hearts Break.
Broken Hearts Break.
Yep.
Man, I really know myself. Yeah, they're like, promote the EP. I'm like, what's it called again?
What?
Well, it's one of those things too. We hear this a lot when we're talking to artists. It's like everyone is always so excited about what's coming.
Yes.
So even if you just release, like even Kip, when we have Kip on, he just put out that big album, but he's like, wait till you hear the next stuff.
Yeah.
No,
And
and he
it's
is like
always
that. He would before they even put that out.
Yeah.
When we were talking, he's like, yeah, but this next stuff, it's it. And oh my gosh, y'all, it is. It is.
We
it's
can't wait to hear it.
But yeah, it's always, and I think it's a blessing and a curse. I have that itch there are two sides to it. I think nothing will ever be good enough for me. And I think that's going to hurt me in some areas, but I think that's also going to help me because it's going to push me.
Yeah.
And, I played before the tours last year. I went and I played Bluebird Cafe. Amazing. Iconic place.
Yeah.
But I left there and I cried. And I was like, now I want to play the Opry. And then, I go on these tours and I do all this stuff. And I'm like, well, now I want to play arenas. And then I go play the Opry with Riley. And I'm like, yeah, but now I want my debut. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I think it's a lot of ups and downs because of that. But I think if I didn't have that, then I'd get complacent.
Yeah.
So
I talk about this a lot with artists. You have to want it so much because the struggles like you're talking about on the road and the hour and a half of sleep some nights. If you can think of doing anything else other than this, then you will do that because it's challenging. Yeah,
and that's a good point too. I have one of my good friends, Tommy Acker. Y'all know Tommy.
Yeah.
I brought him to y'all. I was like, he's good, I promise. Yeah. Put him on. So I told him before he moved here, and this went for me too. It's just an example of that same thing. He was like, had those moments of, yeah, but what if I move there and it doesn't work? I'm like, then don't move here. Because if you are allowing failure before you even start, it's not going to work. You have to, for me, I never had a plan B. There was never another option. And I still won't. There is no plan B. There is no other option. I will succeed in music. Because if you allow that little piece in your brain to go, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? What else am I going to do? Then you're giving yourself an out. That's just an excuse for it not to work. So I'm heavy on the no plan Bs, no other options. Yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't, you'll figure it out. Like God always has the bigger plan, but I think that goes without being said.
Absolutely. Well, and if you don't give it your 100%, if you don't bleed for it, then when you're there, you're not going to appreciate it as much.
Absolutely. There are shows that I was on tour where it could have crippled me, and a few of them almost did. And I just reminded myself how much cooler this is than anything else I could have imagined.
Yeah.
And yes, I always wanted to succeed at this, and I'm not there yet. I'm on my way, but I mean, if I could have told myself even 2 years ago that I would be doing the stuff that I'm doing now, I don't think I would have believed it. I wanted it, but when it happens fast. And I mean, I think that's that way for a lot of people, especially with social media now.
Yes.
A lot of artists that are popping off on TikTok, they want it, but then when it hits, it's like, oh my gosh, it all happens at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's no infrastructure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta, but that's the best part I think about your journey too, is like you got a extremely solid team very quickly too. Like I remember chatting with you about the core and like just, the relationship that Matt had with them and like the stuff we saw them do for other artists and just it's powerful. Yeah. And having worked at a record label for a while, I got to see the power of 30 people pushing in the same direction.
And you know what? So I signed a joint venture with the Core Records and Capitol Records. Mm-hmm. And I was nervous at first, and they all knew. And I'm sure I talked to y'all about it and bounced it off y'all. And I was really nervous to put everything in that one place. But everything that I was worried about actually helped me. And now I don't just have Capitol Records pushing behind me. I have the Core. I have boots on the ground in Nashville that are able to say, if I can't get in touch with someone at Capitol, which that's rare, they're good about it, then I've got the Core behind me.
Yeah.
Going, okay, that's a direct line. And then they also have their records side that is pushing for me. So I think that sometimes artists do run into an issue with that, doing the whole kind of 360 thing. Mm-hmm. But I think that, you know, if things are set up right, I would say, it can be a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Because you've not only got, you know, one team, you've got multiple teams pushing.
Yeah, you have different people in your corner, and sometimes this person has the best idea, and sometimes this person has the best idea.
Right, and the coolest thing about my team is that they listen to me.
Yeah.
And I think that it helps because I have been doing it since I was 15, so I am a little more established in some areas. But then a lot of areas, I turn to them and I go, I don't know. I need your help.
Yeah.
And again, take some humbling. Sometimes they hate me. Sometimes I hate them. But it's all so genuinely for the best for the project that is Hannah McFarland Music.
Yeah.
So I think it all works together good. I think it's good that we butt heads sometimes too, because one, we're all just friends like that now too. So we're so honest with each other, but there are times that they know stuff that I just don't know. Yeah. And I listen to them, but there are times that I know stuff about me that another individual can't know. Mm-hmm. So they listen to me a lot too.
In every relationship in your life, you're going to be passionate about something and someone else is too. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to have that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're always saying yes, 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 you're not an artist.
Yeah.
You're a product.
Yep.
And if they are not giving you good ideas and good information and good stuff, then they're not doing their end either.
Which is scary because I feel like a lot of artists get trapped in that. And I mean, I know for obviously won't be saying names, but I know firsthand some artists that have gotten trapped in situations where, you know, their team doesn't listen to them and their team knows best. And then it ends up not working because it's not authentic to who that person is. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing about being an artist is it's not going to be sustainable if it's not authentic.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that the core knows well, and they're good at that. They know that I am so just unapologetically Hannah McFarland that it's not going to work for anybody if they try to, you know, alter those key things about me.
Yeah.
But they're good about that.
Well, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been great to watch it grow, sis.
I know. You've seen it all unfold.
I know. We got to see from the first time you got to play for us.
When did I
Live Oak.
Wonder what the first, or what year, I guess.
I don't know.
The first one
I can remember was the 65 South takeover.
Yeah.
That you did, but I think you played before that. But I remember that one, and I remember you were standout in that.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you had a moment at that round. And that's one of the coolest things about having rounds is you get to see people just destroy. Like, last night, Shelby Ray played. And you know Shelby.
She's so good. Mm-hmm.
And
Powerhouse.
Shelby, yeah, and she had her family in town. And you know, sometimes it's a round. Like, you're there, and you're just, like, hanging with your friends. But Shelby's family was in town, and she was performing. And it was cool. You had a moment like that at that 65 South takeover where I was like, oh, shit. Like, really? Hannah McFarland. Yeah, of course. Aww. And I remember, like, talking, because that's what me and Matt do. We talk about shit like that after. We're like, yo, this.
This artist, yeah.
Or even, like, sometimes I'm not there for his and he's not there for mine. Mm-hmm. That's how we became buddies.
Yeah.
We was just talking about, oh, my gosh, this person. Oh, you should have this person on. You know,
do you think that, have you seen people on the rounds and go, this person's going to make it, and then they make it? Like, is it easy to spot out?
If I can speak for Nick for a second, I remember he was like, this was years ago, and it was Ella. He was like, this girl's going to be famous. You should check her out. And I was like, okay. And I went, and I was like, and this was like young Ella, you know? I was like, yeah, she got a great voice, you know, but it wasn't a song that like knocked me out or anything. And you're like, just wait, I promise you, this girl, she wants it so bad, she's going to be famous no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Ella was. I played a show with her at Zydeco in Birmingham in 2018, maybe. Mm-hmm. And y'all would die if you saw the picture of us. We look like actual children. It's scary, like unrecognizable. But I remember that night I was watching her on stage, and I was like, I don't know what it takes to make it, but she's got it.
Yeah.
She's got
it.
Yeah.
She can perform.
Yeah.
She is her voice, but it's not just her voice.
That's
her whole presence.
Aura or something.
Yes. Yeah.
You can see that even at a writer's round. And the other cool part is watching it grow.
Yeah.
You can watch people go from being pretty good or sometimes kind of bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
To like good to great and confident.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. Like that's one of my favorite things about having events is getting moments.
Yeah.
And sometimes they happen and sometimes the artist creates them. But we were in Key West Songwriters Fest.
Oh boy.
Lord.
Sorry.
Key West Songwriters Fest.
That just made me ill.
I was working at Big Loud.
Yeah.
And I was way too drunk. And I text Seth England at I think 1:30 in the morning or 12:30 at night.
God bless you, Nick.
And I was like, Ella Langley is having a moment right now. We were at Dirty Harry's or whatever Irish Kevin's. And she was just insane and was taking the crowd at that kind of bar where it's just and everybody's. And I was like, I knew.
What era would this have been? Like, what songs?
But you told me before. You told me well before that, though.
Yeah. But that was, gosh, I guess. What was the year we went to Key West?
I don't remember. 2021?
Yeah, so this was 2022.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have been about when her stuff was starting, I think, to really pick up.
And her confidence level changed. She's always been confident.
Yeah.
But you saw it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
And she's always been so pretty, but recently she has had the biggest glow up, and it's just
the bangs,
a whole.
I think
it might be the bangs.
Yeah.
Well, also, you can tell a girl is in the gym. She is like muscle girl now. I texted her that the other day. I was like, literally all I said was muscles.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's cool to see, man. And it's like. It's just development, right?
Yeah.
And watching your friends, because Ella's kind of a friend, you know? Like, we text not as often now as we used to.
Yeah.
But like, you get to see it happen. I walked out of Nissan Stadium for a Preds game. Or not Nissan Stadium. Bridgestone. And I look up at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Insane.
And Post Malone and Ella Langley are side by side up there. And I said, if you would have told me either of those two would have been up there a couple years ago.
No.
You know? But man, it's just a blessing to see. And like I said, like the moments are the thing. That's why I love what we get to do.
Yeah.
I don't always love hosting. I don't always love booking. I don't love when someone gets sick and I have to find someone last minute.
Just like with any business. I mean, you have your downfalls to it. But
man, when you see someone shut a room up of loud people.
Yeah.
When you see someone have the other people on stage tear up to a song that they're singing. Those are the things that feed my soul and make me extremely happy to have the same exact conversation 100 times with 100 different artists.
Right.
You know?
Is there anything that you've seen? Now, I know I've had growth over the past few years, but like from the beginning of me, is there anything that like stands out to you?
Confidence, sis.
Yeah.
It really is that. Like, your songs were good. Your voice was beautiful. You're a gorgeous human. You know what I mean? But when you got on stage and you knew you had it, I think that's what took it to the next level.
I think it is. Yes, it's a confidence thing, but I also think it's, I believed in myself, but when you see other people start to believe in you and invest in you, it just becomes different.
Absolutely. When someone sees value in the thing that you're doing, that they're like, let's help.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And we've had people tell us that from, man, an article meant the world to me, or you having me on an event meant the world to me. It's like, it's weird stuff because it seems trivial to me sometimes.
It's not.
But and sometimes I'm sure it is, but sometimes it's not.
No, being on this side of things, I can tell you, like everything that y'all do, the podcasts, the rounds, it's not, because I would say, and this is not to, I would say out of all the rounds, first of all,
media training's kicking in right now.
I know. I'm like, how do I say this and not trash anybody? No, just personal preference. And I'm just homies with y'all. But y'all's rounds have always been the most fun for me to play. And I think y'all have the best success rate for, artists that have blown up. I mean, who are some names of people that played on the rounds that are now like
Ella,
yeah,
Graham Barham,
Luke Combs.
Yeah. He was already huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was Kurt's birthday.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people. It's been wild. And then like guys like Wyatt Flores, like Matt knew. He saw Megan Maroney.
Yeah.
Matt had Megan on like right when she got to town. And he knew. He told me, he's like, this girl's going to be a star. Mm-hmm. He knew. Like from the first time, and I was like, is she? And he's like, she is.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what it, Kurt, when we did the radio show, sometimes Kurt was like, this isn't all the way there. Like I remember like a song that I like was playing, and he's like, it's just not right. And I'm like, I don't hear the right. I hear that something's there.
I think that's the thing, is when someone has the ability to be a star, I think you were born with it. And again, I think this goes back to, for me, my faith, I think it's a God thing. So when he gives you the tools, and when he gives you the talent, I think he gives you the tools. And if you don't have the tools already, he's going to put people in your life that have the tools to help you. And so I think that certain people like Ella and Megan and Riley and, these artists, I think that they just naturally have it. They have the presence.
Yes.
And I think that's all part of it.
I talk to Kurt about this sometimes. I'm like, you can feel the ground shaking a little bit sometimes when people walk in a room. You feel their presence. If you have that, it's way easier.
Yeah.
Because if you have that, when you walk into a radio room, they're going to feel it.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone. Riley's thing is different than Ella's.
Yeah.
That's different than yours. But it's all the thing to where when you walk in the room, people remember and they have a moment with you, whether you're having it with them or not, through a song or through that.
I think that's what's so important about meet and greets for me is because where I feel like I build connections is it's a personal thing. And I think sometimes I can have RBF. And some of my guy friends, especially, I think my girlfriends kind of get it, but a lot of my guy friends are like, yeah, you can be intimidating until you open your mouth. I'm like, oh, thanks. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but I get it. Because I think it really does take someone walking up to me and being like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then we have, like, I think as soon as I open my mouth, it's like, oh, gosh, okay, what is this? And it's Hannah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why meet and greets are so important, is because I actually get to connect with these people.
You're very relatable.
I hope so. Yeah. Because that is the biggest thing for me is, and I think we kind of touched on this the last podcast that nobody saw. I think that is the biggest thing for me is like, we have the untouchable artists, and I think that you have the relatable artists like Kelsey Ballerini. I think Ella skates a line of she is still relatable, but she has that, like, it is intimidating because it does feel untouchable. Now it's harder, being her friend, you kind of, but I think that for me, I want to do, like, I keep referencing her, but Kelsey Ballerini, because she is relatable. And I think there's something to be said about being able to put words to things that people feel but don't really talk about, or people that can't write songs or perform, just being able to be that person through my music and then also in my meet and greets. Yeah. Like, meet and greets are also so hard for me, though, because people will come through the line and they have to cut the lines off because I want to talk to everybody for like 10 minutes each and get to know them. And I understand, like, you can't really do that because you only have a certain amount of time. But.
And it slows down your merch sell rate.
Yeah. Yeah, because people are having to, cut out the lines. But even then, there was one of the Brett shows. I don't remember where it was. One of the theaters where we had like 250 people in the meet and greet line. And so we're trying to race through the people. And at the end, people are still coming in while they cut the line off. And I'm like, okay, but this kid wants a selfie. And I'm like, all right, I'll just go to this kid. And I go to the kid that's in the line and I'll take the selfie, but then the person next to them has a good reason too. Yeah. And I'm like, but then the person next to them also has a good reason. Yes. And then the next one has, my t-shirt and they want me to sign it. So I'm going to do that. And then next thing you know, you're going through the tail of the line that you cut off. And I'm like, well, now, I'm the artist that's in a meet and greet still while this other artist is performing on stage. It's just, it's difficult for me.
It's tough.
Because I am such a personable, I want to connect to everybody.
Yeah. Well, the thing I think that makes your music so special is the emotion that you can convey in it 100% of the time. Whether that's at a writer's round or any other time that we've seen you.
But you know what, Nick? I think that's only the case because I'm writing my life.
Yeah.
Like, I am writing what I'm actually going through. I think there are artists with superpowers that can take a song they didn't write and make people feel it. I don't know if I have that yet, but I also haven't crossed that bridge. I am just, everything that I write, I have gone through or I have watched someone very close to me go through.
Yeah.
So I feel it. I hope to continue with that. I don't think that, again, I think it goes back to something that's sustainable is only what's, authentic to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I could sell something that I'm not feeling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big part of it is actually going through these things.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you went through all the things you went through, but I'm happy that you did and got here.
So we got good songs out of it.
Thank God for bad exes.
Yeah. It does be like that sometimes.
That's what I say on stage. I'm like, and praise God for my horrible exes because I got a record deal from them. So, didn't get the happy ending, did get the record deal.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. A different kind of happy ending, I
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're thankful to get to watch you grow, sis, and to continue to watch you grow.
Well, I'm glad that I still have you guys in my corner.
Always. Pod. It's been so great, like we talked about, just see you grow, sis, and the headspace you're in right now is amazing too. Oh, I love it for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, guys, I am very excited to have done this podcast and to get to see you again because it's been a little while.
Me too.
Well, I'm Nicky T.
I'm Kurt Ozan, and we'll see you in the front row. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, sis.